part not. You guys have been wonderful to me as a young businesswoman. So thank you for being here today, and we're going to dive in. But first, I want to tell you a tiny bit about me. So I'm not an overachiever. I'm an early achiever. My parents divorced when I was 5, so therapy started very early for me. My first skydive was at age 8, so I have a very unique perspective on the world. Like I have a vantage point different than a lot of people, unless you've been, and if that, we've got that same thing going on. And then recently, not that I'm proud of this, but I find it humorous, I had my first colonoscopy at age 41. That's earlier than normal. It used to be 50, but 45 is the new 50. So get checked, everybody. Do your health thing, right? So, but I started a business about 15 years ago because I wanted to help the big dreamer. People with an idea, a vision, something cooler than just pushing papers all day, right? People that wanted to really create something. So I specialize in what I call remarkable leaders, authors, occasionally politicians, franchise owners, businesswomen, men who have hesitation on video. So today we're going to dive in. I'm going to introduce you to data art, and it's really just a leadership skill set at the end of the day. It's not necessarily painting just for fun. It's thoughtful, creative creating. So if you have a handout, and I'm going to work through some of that. So, oh, and a little bit more about me on a professional note. I've done quite a few cool things in my time. I've been on King 5. I think it was a 27. I was in the New York Times. Right, so media and being connected to the media is very important to me. I myself have a small media agency. I help people create digital media because it's really important. And one of the frameworks you see on the top right, I call it a discovery deck, and there's over 25 ways that you can leverage social media differently. Depending on the problem, the solution is going to look differently. So at different stages of any business, we're going to have different challenges and different opportunities to advance or reflect. We'll talk about some of those today, but not all of them. And I'm also the author of a book called Financial Joy. I will not tell you what two stocks to pick though. Financial joy to me is the result of good sales and marketing. Knowing how to make enough money, whether that's $5,000, $7,000, $20,000, whatever your goal is, if you're confident with video, with sales, marketing, the money's gonna flow. And so today we're gonna talk about how you can experience some financial joy. Okay, so developing digital you. The way I help people do that is by creating a digital profile. So imagine if you could out-motivate, out-train, out-sell, and out-entertain on your digital, based on your digital platform, how much more profitable and generous could you be? For example, who here's on YouTube? Instagram? So a lot of you already have a digital profile. So you're seeing real life Marcelle right now. Digital Marcelle has over 200 videos on YouTube. I challenge you to check them out someday. But I always compete with my digital personality and my real life personality. So I want to encourage you all to step into this digital role and be digital Ricardo, digital Brian, digital Cindy, right? See if you can outpace and outwin your digital performance. And that's all the conversation we'll be talking about today. Okay, 3 types of data art I'm going to introduce to you. It's looking at your sphere of influence, the people around you, the people that support you, the people that go to bat for you. The cash flow creator, this is a thing I created in Financial Joy, where I took the 30-day month and I turned it into a circular diagram to look at your net profit. Who's checking their net profit every month? Yes, I'm hoping to change that because you should be. It's really, really, really important to be looking at your net profit. Imagine if Pete Carroll was like, all right guys, we're gonna win. But he doesn't have the score until the 4th quarter. How is he gonna win the big game if he doesn't know what the score is? So I wanna make this conversation a lot more accessible, easier, and creative. And then the third thing, we're going to talk about momentum. How do we visualize momentum? I'm going to introduce you to this influence trajectory. And you can see here, some brands go up and over, some go wah-wah out of business, some accelerate quickly. I want to help you get excited about your personal trajectory in business. Okay, and so this brings us to figure 1 on the handout. I created this a few years ago to give people an idea, a way to think through information. So much of what we do on social media, people blame Mark Zuckerberg or like, I don't care about this. It's not the platform's fault, right? We as people have an opportunity to think differently. So in the bottom left, there's a content consumer. Who here has heard Stitch on the radio? Yes, right? We have consumed his voice through the airwaves. Maybe you were watching the news this morning or listening to a podcast. You're reading this paper right now. Your eyes are visually consuming what's in front of you. Now on the right, there's the content creators. People making TikToks or Reels, writing poetry, making music, building homes, putting on roofs on them, right? So we all create in different ways. And today I want to challenge you to create differently, creatively, digitally. Now on the top left, there's that phrase, thought leader. You guys have all heard this phrase, right? Oh, thought leaders, there's a lot of thought leaders or influencers. A thought leader to me is somebody who's writing a book, they're on stage, they've got a vision, they are teaching teams, they're casting the possibility of the future, right? A lot of politicians are thought leaders, like, hey, we can do it better than this last group of people. So thought leaders have a vision. And a visual leader, I want to introduce you to this idea today because so much of the content we create, we get crickets. Like, oh, that didn't work very well. And sometimes we get a lot of a response. And I believe it's from the visual. Now, I feel called to lead a visual movement, and they're still kind of developing what that is. But to me, content that is not visually stimulating gets overlooked. It gets, I mean, if this was all just a big block of text, would you be still sitting here? No, you'd walk out, right? Your eyes can kind of choke if there's too much information too fast. So visuals can help us understand things and make decisions faster. Now, every month, every day, you can grow your ability to be a better content consumer, right? Who here's a big Netflix binger? I challenge you to binge watch. It's okay, I am too. But I challenge you to binge watch the people in this room, the people that we know, right? I've been editing Ivonne's videos at the Marysville Tulalip Chamber for the last year. She's got a ton of great interviews out there. Go watch her videos. Pop onto my YouTube channel, watch my videos. Watch Like and Lemon. She's got great reels on Instagram. Right, so start to consume differently, and that will change how your network works for you. Okay, a couple examples. So if you were to just consume information, a financial report, a result, you'd be like, oh, I have an idea. From there, you could storyboard out, which brings us to number 2, figure 2. Storyboarding is this idea, and I'm not asking you all to become movie makers and film directors, but this idea of, can I take my ideas? Can I map them out, pencil sketch, right? And so today I want to play a little game with you. I call it 10 for 10, so pull out your phone, and if you were to make a reel, you would hold it this way. So sometimes in the next hour or two, I want you to capture 10 10-second clips. So I'm going to instantly throw you guys into the creator mode today, right? You can capture me, you can capture the person next to you, you can capture the beautiful food, thank you, Shelly. You know, you can capture your cute shoes, you can capture the ceiling, I don't care what you capture. Capture something, at least 3, maybe more, but I want you to capture today. I'm actually going to capture you guys real quick, so will you all wave at me? You're going to be in my reel. Look at that, you guys look so nice, oh my goodness. Okay, even 4 seconds, a 4-second clip, right? So getting comfortable as a creator, capturing content is going to help you storytell your day, your life, your business, what your team's all about, that type of thing. Okay, and the top left again, what's your vision for that video? It's easy for me just to record, but did I have a vision to do that? I don't know. I'm not gonna tell. But often you need to create a vision. And your first couple videos, they're just gonna be like, here's my cute shoes, whatever, right? So it's okay, but as you get better at this and as you watch other people's content, you're like, oh, I can do that better. And that's what I want to challenge you to do, is become a creator, creating content better than your competition, better than what you were a year ago. So it's a lot of fun. And then on the right, if people understand what you're showing, and this is the hard part, is because people don't always hear you, or they don't always listen, or they still don't know what it is you do. And so there's this constant cycle of, oh, I have an idea. I'm gonna create it. I'm gonna cast a vision for what's possible, and I'm gonna visually lead them through the process. Okay, let me make cooker. Now, a basic cooking example. Who here loves to cook? All right, you get the recipe. Ooh, this is gonna be amazing. And you cook the thing, right? That is basic level content creation. We can all do that. If we go a little bit further, what I call a remarkable leader cookbook example, read the recipe, bake the cookies. Oh, I could do this better. I can make it better, right? If you have a vision, if you ponder a new recipe, or you explore different flavors and things to add into it, maybe you're like, oh, I could do this. I could create an ebook, a cooking book. Right? Anybody have a dream to create an ebook, cookbook? I know one of you does. But this could happen in politics, this could happen in grief, in recovery, it could happen in banking. It doesn't have to be something that everybody eats. It could be anything that you're like, oh, people don't know what's happening, or people just don't understand. Have you ever said that? Oh, they just don't understand. Community doesn't care. They'll never understand, right? Like we see this thing, it's like, well, whose job is it to make them understand? I would propose it's your job to make us understand. Okay, figure, when you do the storyboard, there's a little QR code on your form there. There's a full 45-minute training I did a couple months ago on Reels. If you really want to dive into Reels and use great visuals while you do that, click that QR code later tonight or over the weekend and watch that, humor me. And just dive in and create some content. This here, I can't really see it. Will someone, will you please hit those 2 lights? I realized I wanted a little more moody up here. All right, much better. Can you see that? These are basically little rectangles. On Instagram, they have built-in templates. You don't have to be a genius storyboard person. You can just capture the content, slide into a template, and boom, it goes, right? If you're seeing people create cooler content than you, they're using templates. They're using the shortcuts to take those little clips or photos and they just slide them in there. So I want to challenge you, look for the word template, use template on Instagram or even on Facebook, so you can just drop your content in there. You don't have to edit everything. I mean, you can hire somebody to edit it, but you don't have to. You can have it really quickly. Okay, so now I want to shift a little bit more into data art. The 4 premises or 4 steps of data art: collect it, clean it, analyze it, share it. Just this week I had this revelation. I was like, oh, data art is not just for the artist or for the data analytical. It's for the remarkable leader. It's a chance for you to look back over your activities, your performance, and give yourself a grade, essentially. So more data art, again, collect it, clean it, analyze it, share it. You could do this with large sets of data, small sets of data. I'm going to introduce you to 3 types of data that you can look at to improve your business, to improve how you show up on the internet, to improve how you build wealth. Okay, so this is my favorite diagram. So I always tell the story of how I created this, because when I was in California about 10 years ago, I helped a celebrity by the name of Les Brown grow from 35,000 fans to 100,000 fans in 6 months. What? I thought it would take decades to get to 100,000 fans, right? Now he had something not all of us had. He had celebrity. He had credibility. He was a past politician. He was a Toastmasters Golden Gavel winner. He was like a radio DJ. He had this powerful voice. If you guys don't know who I'm talking about, Google Les Brown. He's a phenomenal speaker. But I had to realize, I'm like, why can't I get some clients to 100 views when for him it was so easy to move him? So there are levels on the left. So perceived expertise. Sometimes people look at you and they're like, he's legit. She's the best. She's an expert. You know, you have these unconscious opinions of how people are based on their title, their location, what they're wearing. And so with marketing, we can actually improve how people perceive you online based on things like branding, collaboration, advertising, right? There's ways to make your brand move faster in terms of growing your reputation in a sense. And then on the top left, we're looking at audience size. So right now, what do you say, 40 people in the room? There's 40, we're in stage 1. I'm recording this, so hopefully later we'll get it to a couple hundred people online. But I encourage you, this is our comfort zone for most of us. Stitch, you're already playing over here in stage 5. You're the cool kid in the room, right? You've got a radio show, you're already off my chart probably.
Not quite 100 though, but.
Okay, so you're maybe in stage 4 to 5. But my whole point with this is, use this as a tool to measure and monitor where you're at. Because you don't always have to stay in this box. There are ways to bounce over here, different tactics, different social collaborative ideas, ways if you work with other people, you can move much faster, right? And so I want you guys to work with each other. Okay, to increase your expertise, one of the best things I tell people is when it comes to branding, random is rookie, intentional is impressive. Do you guys agree? Mm-hmm. Do you ever like walk up to a table and you see like 50 colors? You're like, yeah, no, like it's consistent, right? Great branding is one of those things you can do to make people understand who you are and what you're all about. I was gonna say, North Creek Roofing's in the house. Your branding's the best. It's everywhere. Like the cars, you guys are everywhere. But you're playing in stage 4 and 5 in a physical location. but maybe not digital location, not that I know of, because I never see you guys on the internet, but I see you everywhere in town. Both can work. I've often actually told people, you have no advertising budget, go get a car wrap. Go spend the $300, $700, get your logo on your car, because when you're scooting around town, people will see about you, and that's a great way to get leverage. So this is really more about leverage than it is about Facebook or Instagram. Okay, so who here has ever visualized their sphere of influence? Brian, Cindy, 2 of my clients, yay! Okay, so we're gonna take you through an exercise today to get you to visually and spatially work through your sphere of influence. Actually, let me back up. So there are different ways we can help our community. It can be going to events, it can be taking photos at events, it can be sharing motivation, it can be teaching something, it could be collaborating. Like, there's a lot of ways to help a community, and I want to challenge you, when it comes to Facebook groups or LinkedIn groups or any online community where people gather, show up more creatively, show up more powerfully, use your voice, your team, be a part of the conversation in new ways, because that's how you're going to be able to grow your sphere of influence. So here's an example visually. Some of you may recognize some of these Facebook groups. I know a couple of you are in the Mill Creek community, right? Over 14,000 people in that group. Some of the groups are smaller. I invite you to check out Humor Heals on Facebook. It's one of my groups. It's free to join. We have a lot of fun. I promote comedy night in there and like silly things because life is hard and it needs humor. One of the best ways you can establish yourself online too, build your own community, right? If you're like, well, there's no group for what I do, build the group, right? Be the leader of that community, because that's going to help you grow it. So now let's create your digital sales territory. And my mom was the first one who ever taught me about sales territory. Have you guys ever really thought through your sales territory? My mom used to be a mortgage sales. There's the mortgage guy in the room. She would like go from Issaquah up I-90, up 405, around Linwood, back down I-5, and she had this territory. She would work it. She drove a little Corvette. She was real fancy, but she would like toss the keys to people and be like, take the car for a ride. So like her branding had a lot to do with the Corvette. It was kind of crazy, but she would work physically and just go from all these offices and take care of her clients. Now that same idea you can do with a digital thing. If you've got a wide open calendar and you're like, what am I going to do today? Well, if you don't have a meeting like this to come to, I want you to have, I usually encourage 5 to 25 communities. I know 25 can be a lot, so let's start you with 5, but different ways to network, show up, share a video, ask a question, participate. So, okay, here, list out, you can flip over the page on the back. Take a minute and list out 3 Facebook groups that you're in, or LinkedIn groups. And if you don't have any yet, you can write down one of those. Right, so just write the names of these groups. And there is, where's Jeff? What's the name of our Mill Creek Chamber Community Group page?
Engage Mill Creek.
Engage Mill Creek. There's a Facebook group. Is that the Facebook group? Yeah, Engage Mill Creek on Facebook. All of y'all should be in that community. It's a great way to connect with these people who are in the room and other members of the group. But they could be on your sphere of influence. Everybody got their 3 groups? Okay. Add a number 1 for the group that you have the most momentum, exposure, or influence in. I know it does look critical. This is that thought leadership piece. Like, oh, what are my thoughts? What are my opinions? How do I sit in these communities? Am I well known? I met Mike in the back here from Mill Creek Community years ago. We were talking about music. Where's the music in Mill Creek? We want to bring music to Mill Creek. Okay, and then number 2, add a number 2 next to your second best community. Think about, where did your last lead come from? Did it come from a Google ad? Did it come from a Pinterest marketing group? Did it, where are your leads coming from for your business? And number 3, put an asterisk by the one you want to network in more. So if you would intentionally network this next month in, say, Humor Heals, and again, I'm gonna plug Humor Heals because I love it, it's wonderful. Come tell a joke, come ask a question, come share a funny video, just participate in that group. Get your name out there, get your name familiar with people. When you're on the couch, when you're in the bathroom, when you're not working, whatever, like, you have an opportunity to network so much more than you guys are doing right now on a digital perspective. I used to hate the question, oh, Marcelle, how many times should I post on the internet? I don't know, how big is your goal? What's your dream? Right? There are some days I post in 20 groups because I'm very, very, very motivated. And there are some days where I don't really care. We get to choose, right? So posting to your business page, yes, that's a strategy. But showing up in other spheres of influences, communities, it's a whole other way to go to the next level. Okay, where are you gonna find the data for the group? So here you can see Buffalo community, 34,000 members. Look here, you can see I've got 141 mutual friends in that group. You all have a number. So in some of these groups, you're gonna be kind of well known, and some you won't. So I'm trying to bounce forward here. Now I want you to think about that group. Spatially, you guys remember the old show Cheers? And you walked in, everybody knows my name, that feeling? That's what I want you to become in your community, where everybody knows your name, right? When we start in a group, like some of you today, you're a first-time member, we welcome you, we're so happy you're here, but nobody really knows you yet, except for the person that invited you. As you come back, as you network, as you participate, everybody will get to know your name. And then you get speaking opportunities like this, thank you. And so you can spatially, it's something spatially, I created this idea called influence opacity. And again, in some groups, you're the gal or the guy. You are so well known, and sometimes you show up and you're like, well, nice to meet you, right? You don't know anybody. And so this is just a thoughtful way to measure your personal influence in these communities. You go back one now. Now look at size. So back in my whole social audience matrix, is that group got 100 people? Is it a group of 10,000? 600? There are some groups on the internet bigger than the city of Mill Creek. Crazy, right? So depending on your goal, depending on your dream, whatever your vision is, you have an opportunity to be well known in multiple spaces at different times. I want to give a shout out in the back. So I'm a part of a group called Modern Widows Club, and there's our Seattle chapter. And in that community, I have found so much support and network in other places, right? So it doesn't always start out as, oh, I'm with some of these people, right? It starts out as, I need them. I need their encouragement. I need their love. I need their support and encouragement. And over time, you develop friendships and professional opportunities may arise. You guys know networking 101 with that. Okay, so you don't need to stand out in every community, right? Select again 3, 5, 10. Depending who your sales team is, or if that's you running the sales show, if you've got an open hour, here's a little secret. You can put the links to 5 of your favorite groups in your event calendar. Put that reoccurring every Thursday at 2, you're gonna hop into these 5 groups and network, right? So there's a way to network intentionally versus like, oh, I joined 20 groups, but now I can't find them. Okay, so I've had that happen before. I'm like, how can I fix this? Put the groups in my Facebook or in my Google Calendar, so it tells me, hey, I'm supposed to go network here. Sometimes we just like that reminder because, as some of you saw up here earlier, you might lose your focus, right? There's different things we lose on the journey, and these systems can help us win. Okay, so switching to another type of data art now, I want you to rethink time for a moment. There's something magical that happens with the internet. It collapses time. And that's what I realized from some of these campaigns where I was helping clients make $40,000 in a month. Because I thought it took a year to make 40 grand. Like, in all honesty, until it happened, I was like, it takes a year to make that much money. No, on the internet, it can happen in a month. Like, there are some of us that can level up with what we're creating. Anyway, so I want to challenge you to rethink time. This was the framework I introduced to Financial Joy. Because based on your digital marketing and your sales activities, at the end of this month, you're gonna have a score, a number. And we'll talk about that. Okay, so years ago, I used to teach a photo a day keeps your business in play. If you have 0 marketing dollars, take a photo a day, right? This is the best way just to get started. Capture content, show it off, right? You're at the golf course, you're at the chamber, you're at the, where's our Christmas party?
Arena Sports.
Arena Sports, right? That day, there's gonna be so much content created for this community. There's gonna be a lot of opportunity. So another idea, images with a weekly video. Sorry, we're a little bit off here. If you were just to add a video once a week, a reel, a video, something of that sort, your leverage, if you can get that video, so now that you have a sphere of influence, well, where do I put the video? You can put it on your personal profile. You can drop in humor heals if you said something funny or goofy or silly or healing. You drop it in Engage Mill Creek if it's relevant to the community, so your videos can go in these different groups. I call it syndication because if you just, I have to tell you this horror story. It is the month of Halloween. One of my clients, dear accountant gal out of Redmond, Jeff, you like this? Okay. very prestigious lady. She spent $3,000 on a video that sat on YouTube with 13 views. And I saw that 2 years later, and I was like, why did you terribly, like, she didn't know, right? She's an accountant, right? But again, I think all levels of professionals should learn about content creation. So anytime you have a video, set a goal. My goal is to get 50 views. My goal is to get 100 views. How can I get 10,000 views on this video? Who do I need to share that for me for it to move, right? So you can start thinking differently and creatively about those videos. Okay, one more. So maybe do blogging consistently right now. You should all have a blog. I really encourage you to start getting your thoughts, your vision, your best practices, your wisdom out to the world. Again, there's a lot of, what do you call it? Idiots. There's a lot of people out there that really don't know things. And in their defense, until they've been taught and shown, maybe they never learned, but in general, people want to do better. People do the best they can with what they have. But if you can help them learn new ways to present, do video, to bank even. I mean, I know people all the time banking, oh, it's scary, right? You can teach on this. Now, for those of you that are like, oh, compliance. Compliance is a free part of your creative team. Some of us have to pay for editing content. Your compliance teams will help you edit. They will tell you what you can't say. So compliance can be a good thing, okay? And then see the arrow here on the social audience matrix there, little stars. People often confuse like ROI with like a video view. Like, oh, I did a video, I got 1,000 views, but nobody called. Okay, good. Do another one, right? Try again. Make a better video, right? A lot of videos are still very much talking head, people just droning on for 3 minutes. There's a way to get creative with that storyboarding conversation. But that data, the view account, is not the same as your net profit, right? Those activities and behaviors are different, and we'll dial into that in a moment. Okay, so rethinking time. These are some of the, so I'm a creative girl. When I wrote this book, it was a couple years after my husband died, and my sister would bring flowers to me all the time. She had a flower farm at the time. So flowers to me were a huge part of my healing. They were a beautiful thing. And I had a client at the time too that was like very woo-woo, law of attraction. And they would say, appreciate money. Anytime you get it, anytime you give it, and anytime you see it in motion, right? So it's just kind of, I'm more of what they say woo-woo structure, right? Like I like the woo-woo, but I'm like also show me the data, right? Like we need both. But this idea of appreciating the flow of cash flow, and really conversations, sales appointments, proposals, and your check, right? A lot of you know you don't always get the check the day you make the appointment, right? It may come later, right? So as you learn about cash flow, and as you learn about making revenue, they don't always happen on the same day. You might need 5 conversations with someone before they give you a check. You might need 20. You might just need 1. But as you start to pay attention, and again, you're to buy a copy of Digital Joy, you can get the full explanation of this. But the revenue ringlet is like when you pair these together over time, paired with the video, paired with the blogging, paired with the media, momentum starts to happen. But if you're not looking at your score on day one, just
Can you read those words again? Because
Yeah.
they're very tiny.
so conversations, like you and I having a conversation over there, like that's a conversation, right? Sharing a video where I don't talk to you is not a conversation, it's a video. But when I actually make eye contact, shake your hand, we have a conversation, that's what I'm talking about. A sales appointment. Anytime you drop the data point, right? So it's not like if that conversation goes from the weather and sports and how are the kids to, oh, I can manage your social media for you for $10,000 a year, that would be like, okay, that's now a sales appointment because you've gone to the numbers, or I can build that roof for you for X amount, or I can, here's how the banking, you know, like if you actually get into the business, I consider that a sales appointment. You all have various sales appointments, you know, scripts and visuals that you share, but then you still have to follow up. You send the proposal, you send the invoice, right? I used to take, you guys, I'm gonna say this in my shame, 10 days to get somebody a proposal. It would take forever. And then it takes them a week to pay you. All of a sudden, that $800 might not be here for 25 days. So managing time and cash flow becomes so important in your business. And then the last one's the check, or that PayPal button going ka-ching, ka-ching, or that, you know, getting that cash, right? So cash in hand is very, very different than, hey, we're just talking about doing business. Getting this rhythm down is really, really, really important. The whole premise of Financial Joy was I wanted women to know how to generate $5,000 in any given month if they had to. right? And so the Jenga game, if you lost, if someone dies, if someone loses their job, if somebody steals from you, I've heard COVID stories that people, their entire bank account's been wiped out because their bookkeeper was no longer a bookkeeper. And so you never know what's gonna happen. Now, your net profit, all that activity, every 30 days, you have a chance to win. I want to challenge you, go back and look at your last 9 months of activity. What was your net profit? $1,000? Give yourself a blueberry or a pretty blue swatch, whatever. $2,000, how about a grape? $5,000, give yourself a watermelon or an apple. $10,000, watermelon. If you're having $40,000 months, you get 4 watermelons. I'm trying to make it fun and simple and playful because numbers are scary for a lot of people. But what if it was kind of juicy? What if it was delicious? What if it was fun? Okay, so now looking at momentum. So over this matrix, we all start out in business down here. Every 30 days, if you follow my finger, there's a ringlet being created. Sometimes we stay here, then we're out of business. You have to advance. You have to advance, get more people to know who you are, and you have to improve. You have to take those failures and learn from them. You've got to grow and improve. You've got to get on King 5. You've got to talk to people in the media. You've got to network in a way where more eyeballs find you, because if you're networking with the same 10 people all month, you're doing it wrong. Unless they're all master referral partners, then maybe you're okay. But in general, you need to talk to new people a lot more. Okay, so those are the 3 pieces of data art. I want to invite you to join the meetup. Jeff is in the picture here. This is years ago. Our Developing Digitally meetup. Feel free to check it out on Meetup. Meetups are usually $20 to $35. It depends. But where you come in, you get hands-on experience creating the reel, creating the content, talking about infographics, talking about sales scripts and various things that are on the digital vein. Our next meetup this Thursday. I know there's a lot going on in the area on Thursday, but I challenge you. If video's on your radar, come to this meetup instead of the other things, because this is going to be great. I have a great guest speaker. And the revenue ringlet, this is something that the last 15 years I've been managing content for other people. And now I'm trying to shift to training more people, because I only have a certain bandwidth I can do for managing accounts, and so I'm looking to train. And so I've packaged together a lot of the data art and marketing practices to help people really reflect and advance each month. Right? If this is the first time looking at your net profit, come talk to me about it. Right? If you got a video and you're like, yeah, I got 1,000 views, but Cindy, congratulations, she has well over 2,000 views now, right? Like, to get celebrated, you want to grow that. And so this is an ongoing community. We meet on the 11th and 22nd of every month. It could be a Sunday, it could be a Tuesday, but every month I create a space for people to come in and look at their creative marketing strategies, look at their developing, their digital assets and how are they growing. Every video, every blog post, you're developing a body of work. Some of your best ideas have only been seen by 8 people. And there's a guy 20,000 doors across town that really, really needs what you have, right? So this isn't just about how do you make more money, it's how do you get the right information to the right people who need to get out of pain, or they need the roof to stop leaking, or they need, the grief coach, or they need their back adjusted, right? So if you are underserving your community right now, there are people like praying for a solution, and you exist, like you are all here. But by playing small, you're not serving them. And so this is a place for us to talk about data dropping and that type of thing. Ask me if you have more questions on that afterwards. And I'm gonna wrap up with this. How am I doing on time?
Perfect.
Good. So that's me, my name, and therevenueringlet.com or dreamosity.com, my phone number. Again, I want to encourage you to create some content today. If you tag me on Instagram or Facebook, I will reshare your video. So whatever your video it is, it could be you and your team, it could be, again, your cute shoes, it could be something clever, the rain, whatever you want to capture. Make some content from today and tag me. I will share it out, right? Because my network needs what you have, but I need something to share. The other thing is, have you ever gone to a meetup like this? You're like, oh, I only met one person. Oh, I already knew all of them, right? Here's the thing. Every person here has a sphere of influence. And so while you may have just gotten my card or one other person's card, but they are all connected to potentially tens of thousands of people.
That's right.
So don't take that person and look, oh, they're just one person. Well, I am just one person. But I got a huge network behind me, and they've gone to bat for me recently. I'm so grateful for all of you, and it's so good to see you all. If you have any questions, come see me afterwards, and I'll pass it back to President.
That's awesome.